The difference between synthetic oils and regular oil is the quality of the additives. And the reason, if you go back to the reason why I'm changing my oil, I changed my oil because of two things. One, there's wear particles, and two, the additives will wear out. There are manufacturers of oil out there that make a synthetic oil that has really good quality additives, and they're not 20% additives, they're more like 80% additives. And manufactured additives are predictable. We know how long they will last, and we know under what conditions they fell. And the additives that they have, the biggest change is the temperature in which they break down. I did some research because on my pickup I wanted to change over to synthetics. So I was researching through automatic transmission fluid. Standard automatic transmission fluid like Chevron or Texaco or Napa, standard automatic transmission fluid starts to break down at 280 degrees. 280 degrees is not very hard to reach. If you're running in 100-degree weather and you're pulling a load or traveling up hills and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to reach 280 degrees. That's not uncommon. At 280 degrees, that oil will start to evaporate and oxidize and actually burn. Synthetic oils, and I'll give you two examples. One of them is AMS and one of them is Schaefer oil. AMS oil starts to break down and oxidize and evaporate at 620 degrees. Schaefer oil starts to break down and oxidize at 850 degrees or 800 and some degrees. If your transmission is 800 degrees, you've got some pretty severe problems happening in that transmission. If it's breaking out or if it gets 600 degrees, it's pretty severe. Because the oil is not breaking down and it's not oxidizing, it's not forming those little black carbon deposits where it burns and stuff like that, and it doesn't turn into gum and varnish and that kind of stuff, so you don't have any kind of residue in there. Lack of residue is one of the reasons why I'm changing my oil. The other thing is their anti-wear inhibitors that they use are really, really good quality, and because they're so good that you just don't get any kind of wear. And without any wear, you don't have any metal particles, which is the second reason why I changed my oil. Without the two, my oil filter is not really doing much, so it doesn't get dirty, and I can extend my oil change. If you were to switch a vehicle over to synthetic oils, the only way you can do it and save money is to do an oil sample. An oil sample, you buy a little kit, they cost like $6.80. You buy a little kit, you suck out 2 ounces of oil, put it in there, and melt it off. And so buying the kit pays for it. You send it off, they analyze it, and they mail it back to you. They will tell you whether your oil needs to be changed. Has it broke down? Are the additives any good? They'll tell you if there's any metal particles in there and what those metal particles are. Is it iron? Is it brass? Is it copper? And if it's copper, this is most likely what's failing in your engine. And they will actually predict when your engine will fail. And so now, if you do this on a regular basis, you can actually chart the wear on your engine. And when it comes time to do a winter oil change, if you sample it and my oil starts to show a lot of metal particles, I can say my engine is starting to fail, and I'm going to schedule my overhaul in a convenient time. Before that, most people just change it whenever the manufacturer says. It says 100 hours, it changes 100 hours. And you just run it until the engine fails. And you're driving along there on some day when it's very inconvenient, and you have a big tournament taking place, and everybody's there, and you're working, and your engine blows up. That's kind of an inconvenient time to schedule an engine overhaul. And so, basically, if you change oil when the manufacturer tells you, you're going to have about the best chance of having a really good life that you can, but it's a crapshoot as to when your engine will fail. And you can't really tell when it's going to fail unless you happen to be looking at the engine or hear a sound that indicates it. By doing an oil sample, you can actually predict and schedule your maintenance in a convenient time. And they'll tell you when to change it. Your synthetic oils will last at a minimum of twice the length of a regular engine oil. And if you're doing the oil sample, you should actually get 3 times the life out of it, which means if you pay more money for your synthetic oil but run 3 times the length, it actually will be cheaper in the long run. The other thing is you're not changing your oil as much, so you're not buying a new filter and you're not buying all that oil. And so within one oil change, you actually will pay for that oil. And so those are some things to think about.